Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Skill Up. My name is Emily Springer. I'm the manager of the Academic Training Academy here at National University, and I am thrilled to be here today with Dr. Aurelia Bickler. She is a fantastic faculty member at NU, so we're pleased to have her here as a part of our Skill Up series. She is the director of the Whole Person Center. And just a couple of very brief Zoom norms here. We do want you to have conversation in the chat and ask questions in the Q&A. The scrolling subtitles are available. If you want to hit closed caption at the bottom of your Zoom, you're welcome to. I am recording today's session and we will put it on our Skill Up YouTube channel. And today, I'm not going to get into all of the details, but we're really focused on grounding and wellness with the Whole Person Center. And we know there's a lot of different, puzzle pieces you can say to your academic journey, and wellness certainly is one of them. So hopefully today you can take something away that can help you in your academic journey, but also just, help you with different strategies on how to help with your wellness needs as a student, staff, or faculty here at NU. So without any further ado, I do want to pass this over to you so we can get started with today's session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the warm introduction. Thank you all for attending. I do want to set a tone for us. I was telling Emily before you all hopped on that I prefer to have conversation when I'm doing an speaking engagement like this, just because I feel like it's more meaningful. So feel free to jump in, feel free to unmute yourselves, feel free to put yourself on camera at any point and just kind of hop on and ask your questions. I'm not worried about being interrupted unless it's in the middle of an exercise that we'll be doing at the end, where I will require not to be interrupted just for the sake of the exercise. But before that, please hop in and join. This is really meant to be a discussion in a lot of ways. So a little bit about me and why grounding in wellness matters to me. So I am originally from Paris, France. I moved to the United States back in the 90s. I've been here a long time now. I have about 21 years behind me as a marriage and family therapist. I still practice. And I have been teaching. Well, I was teaching for about 10 years at National, and then became the director of the Whole Person Center, still remaining in a teaching position. But and so the Whole Person Center was really what I consider my fourth baby in a lot of different ways, because I think of it as a hub for students and faculty and staff and alumni to really connect to each other, but more importantly to themselves, right? And so this is where wellness comes in. Wellness is not a one size fits all. Wellness is not just, eat this way or sleep that way, although it's a huge part of wellness. Wellness is really understanding ourselves. And I think it takes a lifetime sometimes to really get to know what it is that makes us feel whole and calm and peace and vulnerable and whole. And so this is a very important topic as a therapist, as a human, as a director of the Whole Person Center, as a mom, as a wife, as a daughter. It's just when we take care of ourselves and when we understand what we need for our own wellness, we can be better versions to everybody else and encourage everybody else to really reach their highest potential. So with that, I would like to hear a little bit about you and why grounding and wellness matters to you. So feel free to hop on if you feel up to it. No pressure either.
So for me, I'll start this conversation. For me, wellness is important because I'm a mom, I am a full-time student, I am a wife, I am someone who has close family members with cancer. And there's just like a lot of different pieces to that. And so making sure that I'm doing like even one or two things that I can help take care of myself actually helps me be a better person for those around me. but I know that a lot of our students are in similar situations.
Anybody else want to jump in? Oh, somebody might have written in the chat.
Somebody popped in the chat, they can relate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think particularly as students, adult students additionally, we tend to have 800 things that fill our lives. And yet there's this big, academic goal that tends to take a huge chunk of our energy. And I remember when I was getting my doctorate and my master's, I was constantly like trying to reprioritize different things to make sure that my academic journey was being taken care of. And it's hard. And as an adult, when we have, like you said, Emily, people in our families that need our help or support, and your mom and your wife and all of these different things, it's very difficult to navigate through all of that and remain focused, because at the end of the day, wellness can be a base, right? Like it is the core, and then we decide how much we can add, or sometimes we don't decide. Sometimes life decides how much we add to our plate. But if we begin with wellness, no matter what is beyond that, we become one with that wellness, which is so important. As a mom, I practice something with my middle child she feels very deeply. And whenever she has these big feelings, I have this habit of putting my hand on her chest and grabbing her hand and putting it on mine and trying to match our breathing, our breath. And typically I use it to bring her back to a peaceful place, so she can then express what it is that she feels. And we've had a lot of things going on in my life the past couple of weeks. And yesterday I was in the 2 days ago, I was in the kitchen and I was very stressed. And she looks at me and she says, "Are you okay?" And I said, I'm just overwhelmed, but I am okay. And she comes to me and she grabs my hand and she sits me down and she puts her hand on my chest to calm me and grabs my hand to put on. It's going to make me cry. And it was a moment of, I've taught my child to care for herself so much that she was able to recognize my stress and help me calm myself. That to me is being grounded in wellness. Um, it's just it made me incredibly emotional. Anyway, so you inspired me to share this piece. So here's what we'll talk about today. We're going to talk about what it means, which I think we already began doing that. We're going to talk about, how to practice it, and how to create that towards academic success. And then we'll talk about the whole person center. I'm hoping to leave you with some resources around, what's available. The Mindfulness Training Collective is one of them, with a bunch of different, goodies, and along with some other support that I want you to all have walking away today. And then we'll do a mindfulness exercise that will follow with a different exercise that will give you some practical tools. And then we'll leave times for Q&A. Now, the Q&A, again, I've said that earlier, like jump in with Q&A anytime. Like it doesn't have to be left for the end. I just want to make sure that you have some time for it. So what is it? What is grounding in wellness? So there's a lot of different ways to look at wellness, right? And one of the things that is essential for wellness is finding your calm, or finding your baseline, and recognizing it as such, and understanding that perhaps different things allow you to feel more grounded, more connected to your wellness. But when our central nervous system is calm, it gives us a ton of positive responses that then allow us to thrive. And so, not to say that all of wellness relies on calm, but you'll notice that there's quite a bit of there's a huge connection there. And so a lot of it is reliant on that. And um, and they impact different aspects of our lives and of ourselves. So the first one is protecting our physical health, right? So like when you are in a state of calm, of peace, you are at a healthy cortisol level, a healthy adrenaline level. When levels are elevated for extended period of time instead, you can get hypertension, you can get heart disease, inflammation, your immunity weakens, and lots of digestive issues. So just from that perspective, your body is now able to respond in a way that is hormonally balanced. Of course, it lowers blood pressure, it enhances your sleep, it improves your immune response, which in turn allows you to make better, healthier decisions. Then there's a piece about the cognition, right? And this is aligned to your academic success. So as a student, you are constantly overly, most of the time, overly stimulated with all sorts of information that you want to make sure that you address, that you learn, that you retain. If you are not grounded in your wellness, if you are not grounded in a state of mind that is calm, your brain will forget the things that you're learning. You might have to reread things 84 times, the same sentence, until you think that maybe part of it went into your mind, right? And so like when you're able to bring yourself back to a balanced, calm state, your prefrontal cortex stays in full working mode. So you're focused, you have more reasoning, and you're able to make decisions. So think about an assignment that's due, I don't know, 2 hours from now, and you're freaking out. You didn't realize it was due 2 hours from now. If you allow that stress to get in your way, if you might create more issues for yourself. But if you actually check in with yourself and find your way back to a healthy, calm state of mind, you will likely uh, address it in a way that gives you like full control of your decision making skills and able to tackle it. Your amygdala's fight or flight response goes into snooze mode when you're in that state of calm. So again, the thing that's due in a couple hours or the thing that is really stressing you out, you actually by regulating yourself, you actually are able to just bring yourself back to a healthy response level. Any questions so far? Feel free to jump in. I can't see the chat, so Emily.
Not yet, Dr. Bickler.
Do have a question.
Yeah.
So would this be a part of like completing the burnout cycle? So I was listening to the Nagoski twins, I believe that's their names, and they were referring to completing the burnout cycle. So I wanted to know if like this whole grounding and wellness, how you were talking about remaining calm and whenever you feel stressed, it can potentially help out with completing that cycle.
Yeah, so burnout is, I feel like so many people are experiencing burnout right now. This information, I mean, really, like I hear it in my therapy office, I hear it from students, I hear it all around. I don't know if I'm the only one who hears it. Feel free to raise your hand if this is something that you're relating to or feel like is all around you, but burnout's a real thing. We're also overstimulated at this current time in history where everything is trying to get us to the next thing. So if you open your phone, you think you're doing one thing, and before you know it, you are 20 items deep. Or if you have an assignment, before you know it, you're 20 articles deep and you don't remember what you were looking for in the first one. And we're overstimulated. And burnout is very much, to your question, um the enemy of calm, right? Like when you bring yourself back to a place where you are grounded and regulated, whatever is burning you out becomes something you can tackle. And it's actually going to be in a little while, we're going to do 2 back-to-back exercises that are actually going to give you the opportunity to turn all of the chaos or all of the overstimuli into manageable tasks towards your academic success, or really honestly anything that you have as goals ahead of you right now. So yes, I guess the short answer is yes, it is completely related. And I think there's so much more to it, but yes, it is, that regulation prevents burnout, right? That burnout is when you're in constant fight or flight. That burnout is when you're in, your hormones are all out of whack and you can't make decisions that are aligned with your priorities, your desires, your values. I mean, I always say to my clients in my therapy room, like, burnout doesn't call itself burnout, right? Like, burnout doesn't come in and say, by the way, you're burnt out. Burnout becomes apathy. Burnout shows up as apathy, or burnout shows up as, oh, I don't feel connected to my, whoever I'm close to, whether it's my partner, whoever I live with. I'm not interested. I don't care about this, or I'm not gonna take care of that, or whatever. My list keeps growing, but I'm not worried about it. Burnout is a sneaky little devil in a lot of different ways. So to counter that burnout and to really ground ourselves in that wellness, the next part is that emotional resilience. When you are in a place of in a regulated place, you widen your window of tolerance, which, to your question, reduces your sense of overwhelm. So one of the most, and I just read a research about this, one of the most important skill to develop as a human being is resilience, right? It's not finding happiness. It is being able to be emotionally resilient, because we know that life throws a bunch of stuff at us. And so when you practice a self-regulation, when you practice a sense of routine, um, seeking of calm, you develop stronger emotional resilience that allows you to handle more things in your life. And again, all of that is specific to academics, but it's also specific to any and everything, right? It's like it fits in so many different toolboxes. I guess I should say they're tools that fit for almost every part of our lives, if not every part of our lives. The next one is it improves relationships. So when we are well, we show up differently for the people around us, right? We can listen differently, we can empathize differently, we can communicate more effectively. Often when we are burnt out or when we are not grounded in wellness, we are expressing ourselves out of desperation, we're expressing ourselves out of anger, out of all of these really tense emotions that are masking the real needs that our souls need. And those are typically connection, validation, right? They're needs that are so much more profound. And when you practice that sense of wellness, when you, let's say, walk for 30 minutes every day and you give yourself that ability to rewire your brain and connect with nature, for example, if you're able to do it outside, you bring about a different version of yourself in your relationships. Here's where it gets really more specific to academics, but again, not limited to it, is it enhances your learning and your creativity. So when you think of neuroplasticity, what that means is basically that your brain can make new connections. They can make new connections to that allow for new understandings of different things, right? And so that has a much harder time developing when we're burnt out, when we're high stress, when we're overwhelmed. It doesn't align because your brain is on overdrive. Your brain is still working on the fight or flight. Your brain is still trying to survive, gasp for air, right? And so bringing all of that to a place of mindfulness, of calm, of rest allows your brain to connect, to make new connections. It enhances curiosity and idea generation. Anybody think about how like in the shower, they always have the best ideas. There's a reason we have best ideas in the shower. We have best ideas in the shower because you're relaxed. You don't have your phone. You don't have your whatever distractions of the day. You are in there with your thoughts. And because of that, you are more curious. You're more creative in the way that your brain thinks about your day. You can make like the summary of your day highlights. Sure, like we can go with that. Like the summary of what has happened to you that day, and you can sort of navigate through like this was really important, this was impactful. Like you sort of go through what how you experienced your day, and then you can decide what mattered most, what you should like discard, what you should take on and shift. You know, it just gives you opportunities to really reflect. And that happens by prioritizing that level of like, I want wellness. I want calm. I want me. I want authenticity. One of my favorite things is responding versus reacting. I remember vividly, I received this email. I was really high tense. I received this email from a superior. And as I read it, I was like, oh, I was freaking out. And my husband said, okay, just walk away, like walk away and just relax. And so I walked away and I, regulated myself. And I came back 20 minutes later and I realized the email had said nothing that I had understood. Like I had understood it as very like, look how bad this was done, and the email was just like, could you help me find this one thing that somebody's asking me for? It had nothing to do with it, but my stress level literally changed the way I received information. I read a completely different message being stressed than once I regulated myself. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, when you receive information, if your stress level is up here, the information you're receiving is completely distorted. In fact, that's how like sometimes people have like like false recollections of events because their stress levels were so high that they couldn't actually really grasp that information. Um, Reduces costly mistakes. There's nothing more important than rereading yourself and having like that ability to just kind of go, let me just take a quick walk, let me come back, let me really think about this, to really ensure that your actions align with your values. And very quickly, in fact, like I see a lot of couples, a lot of times couples harm each other in multiple ways when they're overstimulated, when they're over busy, overworked. Emily and I were talking about being busy right before this meeting, and I was like, oh, busy. It's like, it's the new normal, but I hate it, right? Because it creates this sense of like overdrive. We're always in overdrive, and it leaves very little room to reflect. And reflection is essential to reduce mistakes. Something very important also, I see that in my couples work, is it supports ethical decisions. You'd be surprised how many couples hurt each other by either, you know, cheating or harming or whatever, like breaking trust in one way or another when they are in a place of stress. And it's I hate to say it's like one causes the other because we're a multitude of things and it's not so A equal, A leads to B, but these micro decisions that we make on how we treat ourselves very much impact the way that we treat our partners, our people that we care about, our colleagues, and so on. And more importantly, us, right? It impacts us and the way that we make decisions. Aligning with long-term goals. If you're constantly high stress, you are living in survival mode. You are not prepping or promoting or contributing to outcomes. Let's take it back to academics for a second. You're all here because you are aiming to work towards a goal that will better your lives. That is the goal of going back to school as an adult, right? We're going back to school so that we can do something better with our journey. If you are this level of stress the entire time you're learning, you are not actually soaking in the information. You are surviving through that journey, and you are not maximizing your ability um, to benefit from it. Now, I'm not saying that we're not all a little bit in survival mode. I have to be honest, and I don't want anybody to walk away and be like, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble." No, we're all we're all going through the many different things that yes, and it's like Emily's doing. It's like it's a wave, right? Like it goes up, it goes down. Yes. The last thing to think about is you're modeling healthy behavior by doing that, right? So like when you co-regulate, yeah, when you're regulating yourself, you invite other people to join. If whoever you touch, whoever's lives you touch, learn to also regulate. My example with my daughter was a big one. It was like I thought I was doing this to really just like be that for her, and I realized like no, I'm learning. I'm teaching her to do that for herself and for other people. So of course, there's very very sort of universal ways to practice wellness, and they're all over research, right? They're so expected and sometimes annoying to hear because it's like, I know I should get 9 hours of sleep, but like, who has time to have 9 hours of sleep, right? Especially now there's new research about women needing more hours of sleep, and it's like, when, But it's just, these are just true, right? Like when we eat nutritious foods, our body responds differently than when we food that is just unhealthy and filled with all sorts of dyes and whatever and chemicals and all these different things. Staying hydrated. Like I think if you don't always have a bottle of water near you, and coffee doesn't count, that you're not hydrating yourself correctly. And that matters. Your bloodstream is dependent on you being hydrated, well nourished, well rested, etc. Exercising is something that can feel so overwhelming to some of us. I'll speak for myself. But it turns out that even a 10-minute exercise makes a difference. If you walk 10 minutes a day, I just read this thing recently, 10 minutes a day changes your life within the year. 10 minutes a day. I love Brenda's suggestion of multitasking between exercising, meditation, and stretching. Keep in mind that multitasking is something you should avoid otherwise. Not when it comes to this, though. That's a really good example. But I know, for example, like if you keep your phone next to you while you're studying or while you're doing a paper, chances are it's going to take you 17 more times than if you put your phone in the other room and say, I'm just going to focus on my paper right now and I'm going to get this done. Staying organized, meditating, stretching, building a support network. Which one can I say again, Emily? Say it. I don't know which one you were talking about.
The cell phone.
Oh my
The
God,
cell phone.
yes.
When you have it next to you when you're doing a paper, and you're like, wait a second, I just got a ping.
Yeah.
For a
What is
moment.
this? Before you know it, you're like, I've been doing this for 17 minutes. This is not good. Um, so a support network, particularly if you're only taking online classes, that can feel really difficult to do, and yet it is so important. So keep showing up to these events, keep showing up to all of the different offerings that we have, which will lead me into our next slide, because this matters. One of my favorite, and I don't know how I managed to misspell that, but exercise your no muscle. If you're a people pleaser and you say yes to things, I'm one of them, and you say yes to things even when you know you really should say no, you are not exercising your no muscle. And your no muscle is the biggest, best boundary setting friend that you can make, because saying no is saying yes to something that matters more. Saying no is not disappointing somebody. Saying no is saying yes to something that is yours to care about. So if you have papers to do and somebody asks you to do something for them and whatever, and you say yes, your paper is going to take the back seat, and you're not going to be able to feel as in control and as at one is as regulated with your work. Prioritize based on what you want to say yes to, because saying no is saying yes to something else. And like that, I think, is the biggest piece of like boundary setting tool. And slow down. We want to get it all done. I know you were talking about how, you have so many things you have to get done for work, for school, and it's like they need to get done 100%. And there's something you have control over, and there's some things you don't have control over as to what and when it gets done. Prioritize based on what needs to be done, but also like allow yourself to slow down in other ways in your life. Avoiding multitasking is the biggest way to slow down, right? Because multitasking just drains your time. And so then you end up rushing on A, B, or C because you've like mismanaged the time when you're multitasking. Whereas if you say, okay, I'm going to do 15 minutes of this, and then I'm going to do 15 minutes of that, chances are you're going to gain hours in your day. Here are some offerings that we have through the Whole Person Center. I don't want it to be like a sales pitch. It is not, okay? Like, please. But at the Whole Person Center, we offer a ton of things that are meant to really ground you in your wellness. We have yoga every 2 weeks. We have mindfulness every Wednesday morning. Plus, we have a cohort on mindfulness. That is a 5-month program. We offer a ton of trainings at reduced prices. We offer a ton of webinars. Some of them are on, by the way, you can scan the QR code and it'll take you to our website. And also on the website, there is a sign up for our newsletter. Feel free to just put your name in there so that you can receive all the information that we're doing. We have webinars on tons of things like sleeping well, heart math, like eating well, developing healthy boundaries, dealing with the chaos of the world. I mean, all sorts of different things, neurodiversity, whatever you want. And I'm always asking students what they want to put out there to make sure that the offerings match what your needs are. So really keep that in mind. If you're like, oh my God, I need help in this area, literally send me an email and I will find an expert to come and talk to us about it, because the goal of the Whole Person Center, the reason it exists is to serve you all, with whatever it is that you need. I try to think that I know a lot of the things that you might benefit from because I've been a student, but I know probably 25% of what you need. So please fill in the rest. We offer a ton of support groups. We have a support groups for neurodivergent students. It's a peer support group. We have a dissertation support group. We have a general student support group. We have an embark support group. We have a multitude of groups that are just there for you to build community. We have internship opportunities. Not everybody qualifies based on their degree, but if you're interested to find out, email me. We have CEU opportunities. We have a podcast. We have a book club. We have just a ton of different things. And really our goal is to help you thrive through your academic journey. So with that, I'm supposed to have an exercise and I have very little time left. So I'm going to try to do it in like just a few minutes. So I apologize because this was going to be like the most time consuming part, but I got chatty and I apologize.
I was going to say, Dr. Bickler, it's okay. If we don't have time for Q&A, we can also take that conversation to the Commons as well too later. So you do you, and we will follow along.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so we're going to do just a short little mindfulness exercise. And I need you all, and feel free to like take yourself off camera if you feel more comfortable. Sometimes we get nervous that someone's looking at us or whatever. So feel free to do whatever feels better for you to be able to rest, to connect, to be, to just let the world go to the side for a second and slow yourself down and find yourself a comfortable position. Feel your feet grounded to the floor and your hands on your lap, in your lap. And if you feel comfortable, feel free to close your eyes and soften your gaze or soften your gaze, whatever speaks to you right now. Being a student is often overwhelming and asks so much of you. A lot of responsibilities and challenges, lots of distractions, and just a lot. And sometimes it's difficult to tune it all out. And yet, tuning everything out is only a small part of the process. Tuning in is most important. And what does that mean? Tuning in to yourself, your wellness, your sense of calm and peace, and the rituals that help you not just get through the day, but to really truly thrive. And let's take a quick moment and breathe, and to reconnect to what serves you. Taking a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Bringing all of your awareness to your breath. Noticing the cool air as you inhale and the warmth as you exhale. Feel your chest rise and fall with each breath. Feel your hand's response to your chest and your chest's respond to your hand, should they be on each other. With every inhale, invite calm and wellness. And with every exhale, release any and all tension. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath, which is your anchor in this moment. And let's turn into your daily wins. Let's think about the power that you have to nurture yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and relationally. Focusing on the physical. Think about one thing that you can do today to care for your body. Short stretch, perhaps, or a walk. Perhaps it's just drinking a little more water or going to the gym for an hour. Picture yourself moving, strengthening, and honoring your body with this action. Shifting to the mental part of yourself. What can you do today to engage your mind? Perhaps it's reading an article on a topic you enjoy, or writing in your journal, or create something new, or learn something new. Imagine the sense of accomplishment and clarity that comes from that simple act of growth. Shifting to a spiritual win. What can you do today to nurture your inner self? Perhaps it's meditation, prayers, reflection, seeking wisdom. Breathe in and feel the peace that comes with deepening your connection to something greater. And lastly, let's focus on a relational win. How can you strengthen your connection to another being today? Maybe it's checking in on a friend, encouraging someone, expressing gratitude, or simply being present with somebody you care about. Picture the warmth of that connection. Positive energy that you give and that you receive in return. With each breath, bring in peace and release tension. With each inhale, invite intention. And with each exhale, release distractions. As you open your eyes, carry this awareness with you, tuning in to yourself, nurturing yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and relationally, as all of these contribute to your grounding in wellness, in your ability to thrive, and to enjoy the ride. Keeping in mind that your day is shaped by the moments that you create. They don't have to be long. It's their quality that shape your day and your experience. What will you do today and tomorrow and beyond? When you're ready, open your eyes and join me back into the room. Feel free to put your cameras back on. I'm sorry this was short. I was hoping to have a little bit more time, but I do want to invite you straight away to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and to just jot down in 30 seconds or less something specific that you want to contribute to each of these elements: physical, mental, spiritual, and relational. Jot it down. When you're done, I want to invite you to find the connection between each of these and the specific hopes that you had when you signed up for this today. Whether it was success academically, emotionally, physically, relationally, wherever it is that your intention lied as you signed up, find the connection between whatever you jotted down and that goal or that intention. And continue journaling or begin to journal about it, as it can allow you to define a path forward. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bickler. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate all the participation on the call, and hopefully individuals had some time to do some reflecting on what they would like to focus on, maybe some strategies shared here today. And then, of course, just a little bit of a deeper understanding of what the Whole Person Center is. And I will include that as a link in my follow-up email to everybody. And then if there are additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out in the comments. All NU students should have access to the comments, which is another space where we can have community as well too. So if something pops up in there, you're welcome to do that. And then of course, obviously, Dr. Bickler. So until the next time, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.